Hello, Genesis family. Dustin McGowan with you here. I am one of the pastors here at Genesis, and I'm looking forward to doing our weekly devotional vlog with you. Today, we're going to be coming from 1 Corinthians. I'm starting at verse 18. And Paul here writes, he says, "For the word of the cross is folly to those who are perishing, but to us who are being saved, it is the power of God. For it is written, I will destroy the wisdom of the wise, and the discernment of the discerning I will thwart. Where is the one who is wise? Where is the scribe? Where is the debater of this age? Has not God made foolish the wisdom of this world? For since in the wisdom of God the world did not know God through wisdom, it pleased God through the folly of what we preach to save those who believe. For Jews demand signs and Greeks seek wisdom, but we preach Christ crucified, a stumbling block to Jews and folly to Gentiles. But to those who are called, both Jews and Greeks, Christ, the power of God, and the wisdom of God, for the foolishness of God is wiser than men, and the weakness of God is stronger than men. For consider your calling, brothers. Not many of you were wise according to worldly standards. Not many of you are powerful. Not many of you are of noble birth. But God chose what is foolish in the world to shame the wise. God chose what is weak in the world to shame the strong." I love this text here in 1 Corinthians because it communicates the source of all that we hold to in the life of faith. That it does not come from human strength or wisdom. And in order for God to accomplish what he accomplishes in our lives, what he accomplishes through Jesus Christ, death, burial, and resurrection, his ascension, what is accomplished is against the grain of human strength and wisdom. I think the hope and encouragement for us as we look at this text is for us to understand that oftentimes the way we get in is the way that we get through and that we come out. That sometimes that the tendency of us is that we know that we have come from death to life through something that for a lot of people makes very little sense. For the message of cross is foolishness to those who are perishing. The fact that God would choose us, that he will restore our lives, that he would make something out of us doesn't make a lot of sense. Because a lot of us haven't seen ourselves as useful, as worthy, as good enough. But God uses us anyways. But in light of that truth of what we come to Christ knowing about ourselves and what he has done, over the course of our faith, we begin to transition to becoming people who believe that we have to now transition to the wisdom and to the strength. That the way that we got out is not the way that we stay in and how we continue through. And so, in order for us, instead of us depending on God as the source, and contrary to what the world might see as folly and foolishness, your prayerful dependence and trust in God, that we try to be strength for ourselves. Though we know we came to God in weakness and foolishness, we try to be wisdom for ourselves. And we try to make our way through the life of faith so much differently than the way that we came into the life of faith. It is God's wisdom, which is foolishness to the world, that God is in. And it is God's wisdom, it is God's power that will keep us. We are not kept because we have been saved and now become strong. Allow ourselves to be encouraged by God has given us permission to remain in alignment with what the world thinks is silly. We don't have to impress the world with our intellect, with our wisdom. We don't have to impress the world with our strength, with our power, with our wealth, with our resources, with our connections. But what we can do is that we can display to ourselves and to everyone who sees us that the real power, that the real wisdom, that the real ability to save rests not in us, but in God and God alone, who brings us in and who will carry us through. Though it might seem like foolishness to some, it is eternal, cosmic wisdom that has existed from the beginning, that will exist down through the very end. Be encouraged by that, and carry that with you through this weekend and on to next week, that our strength is God and God alone. And it might seem like foolishness, but to those who are being saved, it is the power of God. Amen, and God bless.